We're gonna do that now. Coconut water. You can't like coconut water unless you're brown. Is that what you're saying?
From a country where there's plenty of coconut.
Some Ileni, man. You've cut down? You've been to the motherland and have you had the
many times?
You've had the coconut where they chop it up. Oh.
When
you were younger, were you initially like, why are my rents so jaded about this stuff? You know?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, it's kind of just like they'll be like, oh, there's coconuts on the road. Oh, we're gonna go get this right now. Hey, stop the van right now. We're gonna get some coconuts on the road. And I'll be like, they're green, motherfucker. These coconuts aren't even the picture coconuts. Okay. They're not even.
Are you into the water or the flesh of it?
I wasn't into none of it when I was younger. But then as I grew up, holy shit! The last trip, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, back in Lanka, I had that. I was like parched. I was like, oh my God, we can't even have tap water because this shit.
Because you got to boil it.
Yeah, we can't have anything. We're looking at everyone's parched. And I'm like, if anything, I saw the coconuts. I was like, oi, let's get them coconuts right now. And my dad was like, I will try it. Oh, dude, I think I'm actually more for the juice, if anything.
Yeah, me too.
Just because when you're there in the environment, the juice, the water, relax.
It is a thirst quencher and a half.
Oh, one of the best things. It's the electrolytes or something, but I don't care. It's the taste, baby. That's what I care. It's that refreshing coconut water. Yeah. But yeah, it's not the same.
Might even get a sponsorship from this, man.
Put that shit up.
It's crazy intro you've ever gonna hear.
Welcome. This is TWG, the worst generation. And we're back, all right? This is the podcast where you tune in for a certain vibe one episode, then we get a whole different one in the next one, man. We keep you guessing, baby. Myself included. We keep myself in guessing as well, you know? These apps, they probably fit nicer on, you know, like a nice swinging spectrum, you know, versus, you know, in boxes and in compartments.
Agreed.
Since we aren't ever just, you know, black or white here, you know? If anything, we're more brown and brown when we sit here. It's brown people everywhere. And you know what? Fuck it. I'm not apologetic for that in the slightest, all right? We're a huge source of culture, sometimes cultural appropriation. I'll insert Yoshi saying the N-word several times there. But we're sponges for that creative shit. And you'll be seeing our faces in mainstream media sooner rather than later. And maybe we're lucky enough to act on the dreaming for ourselves, and then we maybe try and double down because our rents couldn't really do that. Or maybe we're dreamers because we weren't allowed to act on our hobbies because of these same goddamn rents, man. Who knows? But it's doubling down on the random quirks, you know? That's that good, baby. That's that TWG stuff, if you will, you know? So it's only right to have today's guest on, you know? It's a woman who's not only going to live by normie rules and not going to play by the normies book, and she believes others have the potential to do exactly that, you know? Believes in them so much so that she'd do a second recording with them and pretend the first one didn't just have us out of frame the majority of episode. Yeah, that's pretty niche. That's nice. Weird how people justify their connections purely because of, you know, time and memories versus just actually seeing if the other person is just a bit fair dinkum, you know, just a bit decent. I've met her twice, and despite her being pulled over the first time, and despite her getting cucked by the podcaster cuck god the second time, she's still here because hopefully she thinks TWG has the right direction and intention, you know? Over those 2 previous meetups, I realized she's got her shit together, but she's not going to put a front on. She's been through the ringer, realized it changed her, then realized, fuck it, let's go through the ringer again and deal with it with a few more varying mechanisms, you know? See varied improvements in myself. So she sounds like a hamster going through those obstacle courses right now. It's kind of what it sounds like. But she's a mad bitch. She's got plenty of stories to share. And if you don't hear them, don't worry. Patreon did, you know? No one's perfect. And the only thing that she's got is her current exchange rate for the Dexies. It's a little bit whack right now. I'm not too sure. It's Tasha today. How are we?
I'm very well, thank you, Billy.
You know what? I had to mix up that intro because she really drove down a whole hour and I botched an episode just like that, easy peasy, you know? She can drive down a whole hour, but it takes that to fuck up an episode.
Indeed.
It's fantastic. Indeed. I'll let you say that.
Thank you for having me, man.
No, of course. I mean, it's to be honest, I'm happy I kind of fucked it up because, like, you know, like, you're one of the mates now. You know, it's easy peasy. You, like, I feel kind of bad for the distance driven, but
It's all good.
But at the same, if it's just my mates, I don't actually care how long they drive, and as long as I can see them, you know. So eventually, I'll be selfish, and you'll realize I'm that bad of a person. But I mean, do you have any problems with the intro? You know, it was actually a long one, to be fair. I feel like I was yapping for a while. But do you remember any of that stuff? Do you have any comments about more coconuts just being in the media now?
Well, I mean, with the things that you said about our last visit, it just made me realize what a series of unfortunate events up until this point, because I just evacuated my place because of the floods and just went back.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
So the trek today was pretty much because of the road closures, but yeah.
Man. Yeah. Hey, camera's working. I can see everything. So, you know, don't make me feel too guilty. No, okay. No. Yeah, like I said, I'm not apologetic for having hella brown people on. I mean, maybe that's because that's half my mates. I don't really know. But it's not even like a coincidence, really. I just feel like a lot of my mates are people that also have the same sort of direction as me, in the sense that they... Okay, I obviously have a lot of mates that are a lot more smart than me. So they're doing their full-time grind, right? They might be sorted in their, you know... A specific mate, he's doing like pharmacology, and now he's trying to do some sort of like doctorate or some crazy shit. But he's also this kind of guy that's like, God damn it, Bill, I really want to try, you know, like singing here and there, you know, just like a different, like, something in them that kind of bugs him here and there, you know. So I guess that's like, and they end up being brown people because I guess we've kind of, I don't want to say everyone, but I'm just going to blanket term, because most of us kind of get repressed in terms of the hobbies and that sort of like initial, I don't know, creative passion when we're younger. Can I say that?
Yeah. Well, it's actually really interesting you brought that up, because see these earrings that I've got on right now.
Okay.
I made these when I was a kid.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
pretty fly.
These are actually two separate earrings, right?
I was going to say they're not matching, but that's okay.
Because I moved out recently, right? So all my stuff's everywhere. So I found it and I was like, oh, that's a vibe. So
that is actually.
But if you look at it closely, you'll see the hook and stuff is all rusted. Might be a bit of tetanus in there. I'm not sure you can see how old
You know what?
it is.
I might not try it on. That's a fantastic
I'm
thing.
just
Yeah.
kidding.
No, of course. Yeah. That's
But in terms of creative pursuits, like I was very creative as a kid.
Interesting.
But I always felt like you can't explore those passions because it's not sustainable. You know, these are the kinds of narratives.
I don't want to sound like, oh, we're like, don't do this, don't do that. It's just such a like, oh, keep drawing. Yeah. Like that's what you do in your spare time. Of course.
I think there's
Enjoy
a
yourself.
belief that there isn't money to be made unless you're very good.
Yes. Yeah.
But really, like, you know, when people say, oh, I can't sing or I can't dance. If you think about it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to sing or dance well. If you can get up and move your limbs around, you can dance. Like kids know that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They have heaps
yeah.
to learn from kids. They don't care.
Exactly, yeah. Kids are just blank slates. That's exactly it, yeah.
There's
it's amazing,
no filter whatsoever, and I love it.
That is true. No, that is actually true. Even though I'm very picky with my kids, I'm always like, oh, I wish I could have a nice quiet baby. But then like when you like interact with a, you know, young family, and it's like a little kid who's just like managed to learn how to put sentences together for the first time. And this kid's like, oh yeah, mum and dad have been fighting at home. And then they'll just like scream that shit out to you. And you're like, that's great to know, you know? And like, you know, like you really just want to tell me stories, you know? You don't know what's good or what's bad. It's just, you know, everything happened today. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, kids definitely, I do love that about them. Because then we always like attach certain things like that you don't want to share, or you don't want to like, you know, just because you someone else might judge you on that certain thought. But then kids are like, fuck it, man, you're going to know about my story today.
But if you think about it, man, isn't that the very essence of being? So we've kind of forgotten it as we've gotten older. Because even if you think about it, right, if a kid is in a shit mood, they will tell you. They don't care if you're at a dinner party. You know what I mean? There's no, I need to be a certain way to make people comfortable.
No facade there,
Yeah. And I think we forget it as we get older, and people tend to get it back towards death. Yeah. When they're nearing death, they tend to not give a fuck anymore as well.
Do you reckon it's because kids only hang around with people they're comfortable with as well? Because I end up not giving a fuck around the people I'm comfortable with, you know? Like...
But that's another thing, intuition.
We end up doing that less because we have to end up catering to people that we kind of have to put on a facade for. Is that what we're trying to say? Yeah. Super deep 10 minutes in, baby. That's amazing. Yeah.
But also like with the intuition thing, right?
Yeah.
Kids are very aware of who they're uncomfortable around and who they're not.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you're
Stuff
correct.
like
Yeah.
that.
It's very, very innocent, but like straight with it.
Yeah, then we get shaped by the society and our expectations, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah.
On a subconscious level.
Yeah. And then you're like too late. You're like, God damn it, I like.
Nah, not too late, man. We can
Never
always
too
unlearn.
late. Never too late. That's
Yeah.
true. That is true.
But
But
mission.
like, yeah. In your head, you tell yourself, you're like, oh, God damn it, man. Like, but yeah, back to the brown people in like just like pursuing more creative stuff. I do know like mates, like the guy that helps me out with my audio, Shaz. He's like pursuing. Obviously, he's got his he got like 97 in his thesis or something. I'm like, okay, go suck someone off. All right, you're fantastic. But then he's also the type of guy that wants to be a DJ, wants to be a producer, and all that shit. And I just know a lot more people that end up being brown, that end up wanting to do something creative. Maybe because we get brought up on so much like music, so much culture, so much vibrancy.
Richness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like like so much of this, like so much of the prayers. Sometimes catch me on a sesh, man, and I have to end up rocking up to a prayers, and I'm like, God damn it, I didn't time this right. But then I'll be in the midst of these prayers, and all of a sudden I'm starting to float and vibrate, and I'm like, wait a goddamn second, man. and I'm like, whoa, this is the good stuff right now. Like it's like, I don't know, there's stuff to be explored there, and I feel like this is maybe my way of doing that, maybe like exploring a creative way, just because I know I see my dad as well. Maybe I'm just a huge reflection of that guy, even though I'm like, no, I'm my own man. He's super quiet around the house, doesn't really talk like around the house, but when he's with his mates, bursts into life. He's the kind of guy that like, he'll be running the conversation, he'll be the one talking, and it's just like I don't know, he cracks jokes all the time, and he's like, nah, I mean like, and even now when I'm like, oh, I want to kind of do stand-up, he's like, oh yeah, but imagine doing stand-up and being a physiotherapist, and I'm like, it's hard to imagine that, to be honest, like.
But I think because the previous generations, like our parents and stuff, they've really had to struggle to
No,
make it.
yeah, that's why I don't.
So
that's why I'm not
because
like
of
so
that-
angry at him anymore. You know.
Because they weren't given the option of
That's
pursuing
why.
these creative things. And
yeah.
on the car ride here, I was just thinking about it, and like, because I had an argument with my parents yesterday when I was camping out at their house, right? So I was
Like, I'm moving on. As soon as my house isn't flooded, man, I'm out of here. yeah.
And I was just reflecting on it and just thinking about how when you're angry, you just say, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. They really just did the best that they could. And perhaps their success is bringing us here so where we can achieve the things that they never even had the opportunity to do.
1000%. Yeah.
So we just got to grab it by the balls. We got to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why that first part of that thing where I'm like, maybe we double down because they didn't even get the chance to even try in the first place. So we've got
their hunger
so
as
we
well.
get to do that double.
Yeah.
We get to go, oh, you got an opportunity? Let me use yours as well, you know? So it's kind of like we have this platform. Well, I kind of feel like it's a platform just because, I mean, privileged enough to have almost been, not even spoon-fed, like almost like suffocated with like education, you know? Like tutoring, you want it or you don't want it? Yeah, it's in your
the
throat
only
now.
ticket out
It's in your
in
throat.
their
Yeah,
eyes,
that's what I mean. So now I'm at this place where I'm like, oh yeah, I want to venture into like doing all this creative shit. But then end of the day, I've got that like,
The base.
I've got my degree. I've got these things that I've done. And now they're like, okay, I guess you've ticked my box in that sense. You do you. So yeah, I've only got respect for our parents in that sense and all my mates' parents because they all share that same, God damn it, what's my kid doing right now? Like I know they're set, but they've got something else to them, you know?
But
It's
you
like
know what, man? Perhaps
in a
the
good way
next-
though. In a good way.
Perhaps the next generations won't even need to have like a degree to fall back on. Maybe they'll just say to us, like, I want to be a stand-up comedian. And we'll be like, oh yeah, sure.
I'll be like,
You know,
okay,
go
so
for it.
here are the clubs that you need to go to, and then you just
and then like guide them in that.
Yeah. If anything, I mean, I'm obviously super grateful and there's nothing, but like our parents give us heaps, but they didn't really have the opportunity to teach us heaps because they were learning at the same time.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
So with our kids, I feel like we have the opportunity. Maybe I won't give them as much because I'm not going to be as successful as my parents. Hell yeah. But I'm going to try and teach them as well, you know, compensate, you know, try and teach them because English is my first and hopefully not only language, but because Tamil's in there. I know phrases. Don't do me like that. I know phrases and I'm the best understander of Tamil ever. You talk to me in Tamil, you scold me in Tamil, I've been scolded. But it's just, you know, reciprocate. a bit of a butchery. Are you? What's your background? Are you?
I'm Indian, so I speak South Indian.
Yeah, because
So-
you understood karapu when I said karapu.
Yeah, I died.
Yeah. So if you
So-
type that into Google Translate, it says black, and they're like, "Whoa, he just called his mates black." No, it's different
There's
connotation when you
context.
say
Yeah,
it.
there's-
When you say stuff in Tamil. There's a different connotation, man. It's like, it's.
So I speak Malayalam.
Okay, yeah,
so
kind of similar.
very similar to Tamil.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, so my dad's from Bombay, so he speaks Hindi, he speaks a bit
Yeah.
of Malayalam as well.
Okay.
And then, mum's from Kerala, so very close.
Yeah. This is going to be a random point, but like it's also on the brown stuff, right? Like on it's also kind of inspirations, but like I remember as a kid and even now, I'm really stubborn with like Tamil movies and all that, right? I don't know about your parents, but like I'll say my mum, that could be her crack. Like Sun TV. Sun TV could be her inner veins, like as we speak. Like she loves
remember AsiaNet?
that.
All those?
I choose not to. That's the
God,
problem, you know. As in, like Labara TV, they've got everything. They've really got everything. So it's just like she'll come down and she'll sit through and like they'll watch like casual movies, like the sitcoms or not sitcoms.
They're
those
like
drama
soap
shows.
operas.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
My
that's the one.
grandma loved
Oh yeah.
those.
All that dumb shit. And I used to be like, when I was younger, I used to be like, wow, this is trash.
Yeah.
And now I watch it, I'm like, no, there's just a different context with some of this comedy. Like I used to be like, that's not necessarily funny, you know.
But
like
you know what?
it's hilarious.
The mechanics of it though is the same, because if you
Yeah.
look at a soap opera like an American one,
Yeah.
the drama
The
and
drama
the
and
edge
how
of your
cringy,
seat, just
yeah.
something random happens and you're
Yeah.
just like, how could that happen? You get
You're like,
sucked
"Ah,"
in.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If
On the
anything-
third marriage
Yeah.
breakup, you're just
Yeah.
like, fuck.
Yeah, you can't be watching Neighbours and then also talk shit about, you know, Sun TV shows, you know, because they're the same shit. They're the same shit, but you know,
Literally.
just Indian
Worse
TV shows.
acting.
Yeah, it's
More
exactly.
drama. Yeah.
More like shaking of the screen as well, you know, like it's horrible. But also, I used to just like be critical of like the comedians. I'd be like, no, they're not necessarily saying stuff that's funny. But as I've grown older, do you know Vadivel by any chance? I'm just like name dropping. I'm just going to put a picture of him up right now. But the Tamils that know him, they know him. A comedian in the sense that like I didn't realize this guy is probably one of my like bigger inspirations in terms of how I make people laugh as well. Because when like this guy just makes random ass
it like the
voices.
dry humor
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff?
and it starts like changing. Do you know when they go super squeaky voice and like
Yep.
they start doing that and they start speaking super fast and they're like, you know, just like
They're utilizing tone and speed
yeah,
and
and
pauses.
they just like every and like
Yeah.
when it's Tom, we're just like and it sounds like it sounds
motorbike.
funny. It genuinely sounds like I'm not even being. It sounds funny, and then I ended up. I was like, God damn it, man! I was like when I was trying to write for my like sets that I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, like what kind of comedian am I? I'm not really like this like super nerdy punchline heavy kind of like you're gonna man, this is like an essay right now. I'm more like a connect with the audience sort of thing. And like try and make people laugh through some goofy shit like that. And then I was like, I didn't want to admit that to myself. I was like, no, I'm smarter than that.
Yeah.
I'm smarter than that. No, I'm wordplay, baby. And then I was like, nah, you know what? You got to embrace it. And this guy, huge inspiration for me. And then I mean, I guess shout out to my parents for watching so much Vaudeville. But yeah, it's just like you see inspiration in places that I mean I didn't initially give that much credit to my culture, my brown culture. So I used to be. It's like a bit in one of my stand-ups. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just a white guy. What do you mean? I'm fully assimilated now. Like I'm not even part of this brown circle. But then at the same time, I've realized I'm happy that I've been brought up in, you know, Tari, where I got given that, you know, Australian culture. But now I'm kind of going back
To your
to
roots.
understanding my roots now. And it's just like, I don't know. Obviously, it probably sounds ignorant to people who are like, dude, I know Tamil off by heart now. I've been raised in it. But it maybe sounds ignorant to you, but it's just like, I don't know. It sounds like a blessing to me, you know?
Yeah, you
It
kind of
sounds-
accept it more as you get older. And with the cultural thing, what I've found,
Yeah.
and with the cultural thing as well, like I used to watch a lot of Hindi movies with my dad, so I don't understand Hindi, right? So I used to watch it with the subtitles, right?
Of course, yeah.
Even like their expressions and stuff,
Yeah.
you can get the gist of what's
course,
going on.
Yeah.
And the music that they would play in it, it's like very orchestra heavy, like when there's dramatic car chases and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But they're beautiful compositions, like the way
This
they
is
put
yeah,
it together,
if you just
right?
isolate them, yeah. If
Literally.
You, yeah.
And then lately, when I've been listening to instrumentals and stuff and just
Yeah.
appreciating what I like in different instrumentals, I've noticed that Madlib and like artists like
Yeah,
rest in
yeah.
peace, they've like incorporated all that stuff, like you
Yeah.
know, the folklore and like all that kind of
Yeah.
like that sound.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It's When you realize
art.
some of these people pull inspiration from the stuff that I used to like
Yes.
shun from, I was like, whoa.
Even
whoa,
my
whoa.
dad used to play, this is so random, Irish drinking songs.
Hell
right?
yeah.
Randomly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
He loves
yeah.
a drink.
Yeah.
And if I sampled, like I don't know how to mix anything, but if I
Sure.
learned how to and sampled like some of those things, I
Yeah.
could create some incredible work. And I'm just like, I
Yeah.
want to explore that side now.
They'd be mad. Yeah, exactly.
That side of my creativity.
Yeah, sampling seems like one of the funner things to do if you could like, because like you're just getting different like sounds that are popular and mean a certain thing, and then you can tell your own story just by mashing everything together.
Yeah,
Oh
wow.
man. Hey Shaz, I'm gonna talk to you, yeah, baby. Like I'm gonna, you're gonna do my shit for me, but I'll write it down for you. Yeah, no, that's mad. But yeah, no, just want to shout out and not apologize for having so many brown people on as well. But yeah, no, it's definitely not a brown only pod. One of my mates said that. I forgot who it was. Oh, no, it was Andrew. My bad, Bromwich. My bad. He was just like, I'd love to come on again, but like I didn't know. I don't want a brown face, and I was like, you're hilarious. But yeah, just want to shout that out. I guess we're just kind of doubling down, maybe because our rents gave us the platform, kind of that thing. Yeah. Anyways, what do you reckon about like rents being restrictive though? Is that anything like as a kid? I mean, we can say it in hindsight now because we're not obviously, but we might be grateful for certain things here and there. But how did they stop you on certain things? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, basically, freedom of expression.
sure.
Because what was seen as successful to them was different to success in my eyes.
Okay.
But now I see that pretty much as them being a product of their environment.
Yeah.
And, all that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I don't really know.
Like, like my specific thing is like I remember like wanting to be a gym bro so bad in like year 11, year 12. So I asked in year 11, like, can I get my gym membership, please? They were like, who the hell do you think you are? No chance. Study, finish your HSC, then we'll think about it. And like this has been built up through my head, so I'm just like, I'll study here and there, like nothing special. But like, I used to be like, oh man, if they just let me go to gym, I could get that out of my head and then I could just study more, Like at the point where like, because I couldn't do any sport in year 12 as well, and it got to like, I could do nothing apart from study. So at the time I was like, dude, this is definitely not healthy. This is absolutely not the way to do it.
Yeah.
And then like after year 12, like I got into gym and then like, yeah, it was super fantasized for a while. And then maybe I got unhealthy with it because it was just so like, I've been so like in my head, I was thinking about it so much. And then for the next, I think it was like first year, second year, I wasn't even like jacked or anything, but it was just so like, oh, MyFitnessPal, we're going to count my tuna can, Oh, did I have that? I had a rice cake. Fuck, let me put that rice cake in as well,
It's kind of like you become extra dedicated to it because you
missed out. You missed out on those years.
Down.
I need to catch up to the guys who started when they were 16 because I couldn't. I was still doing push-ups and all that like ghetto ass shit in the garage, but I just thought, oh, I'm not doing reverse chest flies. I can't do it in the gym. No way. So yeah, I remember that was one thing where I was really built up, and then it might have had like a whole different like meaning on me in the end because it ended up being, no, I'm not going to say unhealthy, but like on that direction towards being not too sure how to deal with.
This
it wasn't
is the
so
only
lifestyle.
way
Yeah,
to
it
success.
wasn't so much
Yeah.
lifestyle. It was more like
It's inhibitory.
It's exactly, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's one thing where I kind of look at it, but obviously hindsight's a hell of a thing. I don't train for shit right now, so I'm kind of like, I mean, I'll train here and there, but in my head, it's more a lifestyle thing.
Yep.
So I guess I'm happy I've gone through that whole circle pretty early in my life, but I guess some people get kind of traumatized from their certain parents as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so I'm a mental health worker. So I meet all kinds of different people, and I often see that our environment plays a huge part in our outlook and our perspective and stuff. So yeah, genes play a big part as well, but it's environment. So what you're told, what you hear becomes your inner voice.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It becomes a conscience. Yeah, I definitely feel that. So like when people say, what's the like you said, genes versus the environment. What's the
nature versus nurture.
That's it. That's the one. Are you more on the nature then, or are you more on the nurture's the environment?
Nurture
then,
is
right?
environment.
Okay,
Nurture
so you're
for
more
sure.
yeah.
There's actually a movie on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it.
Go on,
it was
I
on
barely
in the
watch.
top 10 things during during COVID.
Yeah.
So it was literally 3. It was triplets, right? And they got separated at birth.
Okay.
And they were raised in 3 different families, and then somehow their paths crossed. These 3 guys, right?
No, Netflix.
It's
Honestly,
but this is a
Netflix
true
has
story.
a prison where they keep these motherfuckers, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna make a documentary out of you." But until then, we're keeping you triplets in separate cells right now. Honestly, how do they make such good TV shows?
But do you know what's
Go on.
insane about that?
Sorry,
It
go on.
actually, and what's that word for when people do experiments on kids and stuff?
There's a name for that.
Yeah, like the Nazis did it and stuff. There's a
I have no idea. So
there's a word for it. So
I
maybe
didn't
when we
realize
figure out,
there's
we'll
a
pop it up.
name for it.
Yeah, so really what happened is that was actually done for a study. So they really separated these kids intentionally and gave them to 3 different socioeconomic status families, and then conducted tests on them without the parents' knowledge to see the effects of nature versus nurture. And nature did play a big role, but nurture by far was the
big
biggest. Yeah, but the effects.
What kind of stuff did you like? Like, what did we? Do you remember any of the examples or off the top?
Yeah, so like mental illness. I think one of them had schizophrenia and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was a high stress environment. What else was there? Even just in their perspective towards life, because the one that had less money growing up had a different perspective versus the one that grew up with a lot of money.
Money's a big thing. Money's a very easy way to see it as well.
And big thing as well, if you think about it, triplets in the womb, they're joined. They're like sharing the same. So then you're separating them at birth. That's a massive trauma.
Interesting.
And they tried to sue. It was like this massive professor that does like twin studies.
Yeah.
That actually organized it, and they got funding from Washington and stuff. So it was really like.
Damn, that's like a very ethical, like.
Yeah, huge.
Wish wash. Oh my goodness, that is a. But I mean, at the same time, you'd love for someone to sign a fucking consent form for that, because that is that's an experiment that you kind of want to happen. You know, like you kind of not want to like. Not like that. Not like as in like you want to you want to understand these things.
Pardon me.
That's what I mean by you wanted someone to sign a consent form, not like
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not that bad. What the hell? I don't mean the worst. It just comes out really bad sometimes. But yeah, no, the nature versus nurture thing is huge, and I feel like with money is a very easy way to see it, because you can see it in certain. I just remember specifically Tari. I remember talking to a lot of people, and it was just any way to make money, you make the money, and then easy peasy, like nothing else. It was just like make the money, and it was fine. But then, you know, being raised with my dad and everything, he was like, look, money is something that can allow for freedom, you know, like money, And I don't know, that's why, like, every time, like, when I was raised, like, when I was just growing up, I would see different people just be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to make so much money off this thing. And, like, you know, like, I'm gonna sell half my soul. Not sell half my soul, but, you know, I'm going to be, you know, I'll take like 20. I'll overdose on my decks. He's just like knuckle down on this and like land this big sum, you know? I don't know, whatever it is, but land this big sum, put themselves through like a detriment just to get this money, and then maybe just wash it away pretty fast as well, you know? And it just, and I don't know, seeing this, and then also seeing the side where my dad's kind of like, nah, you have money, but the main thing you want to do is be able to move.
Yep.
And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm only, it's crazy, don't tickle me. So I'm only blessed with that kind of view because I've been told this consistently.
Or shown it.
Or as in literally lived with it, you know?
Yes.
Like, yeah, so, yeah, that nurture thing I think is absolute for me.
But it's interesting that you brought up money, and before we were talking about passions, you know, like creativity and stuff like that. I have this Venn diagram that changed my life.
Venn diagram, they changed my life as well.
No, this was incredible, right? Because
my first pair of titties, go on. Yeah,
when I saw it,
Yeah.
it was called like the key to a fulfilled life or something like that. When I saw it, I was like, this is the key to happiness.
Okay, go on.
And
Yeah.
I actually have it drawn up in my notebook in the car, so I can go get it.
Do you know what? It's fine. You
Are
don't
you
have to do
sure?
that.
Because it's like...
But I can is it a famous thing? I can Google image it?
Yeah, but like
I
each
can
one
stick
that
it
I
up in the
find
episode.
online is different. Like it's not this one.
Okay, I'm going to bring up this topic and then you can send me the picture so I can put it for the episode.
Okay.
I will deal with this situation as you explain it to me. But for the crowd, they can see the picture.
Okay, I'm hoping that I don't mess it up because, you know, with the Venn diagram, how there's the things.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure,
so
sure.
all right, so
I'll
there's
take your word for it. Yeah.
so there's 3 pillars to your life.
Okay.
Passion, purpose, and profits, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So passion is what you love.
Yeah.
Purpose is what you're born to do.
Sure.
Profits
Yep.
is money.
Yep. Okay.
So each of these things, like the degree to which you need them, depends on what you want out of life. So you could like write down each of these things and then just dot point.
Yeah.
What are you passionate about? What's your purpose? How can you make money?
Yeah.
And obviously with that as well, like say for example, your goal is to travel the world. You need profits to reflect that. If you just want to raise your kids really humbly, don't need as much.
Okay.
So then in the center is happiness. So when it overlaps, if you have passion and purpose, but no profits, this is where your struggling artists are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? They love what they're doing.
Love and
they're
everything.
born to do it, but they're struggling to make money.
Yeah.
Then if you've got profits and purpose, that's your Fortune 500 CEOs.
Okay.
Because they don't have time to hang out with their family on the weekends and stuff. There's no passion. And then the other one was passion and profits, but no purpose. That's your 9-to-5ers. Do you know what I mean? So they're missing their purpose. They're just sitting in a cubicle all day long. They've got money. They play sport on the weekends with their boys.
But what are they
something's
doing
missing.
Yeah.
So when I saw this, you've got to put it up.
Yeah, I know, I'm putting up for. God damn it, that's a good
This
one.
thing
Yeah, that's good.
changed my life because at the time that I saw it, I was deeply unhappy.
Sure. Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, this is the key to happiness, but I had no idea how to get there. So I just wrote it in the book, which is in the car, left it.
Yeah.
And then went through a really bad breakup and I thought, fuck this. And I jumped on a plane to Mexico. So had to.
Hey, fair enough.
I just wanted to do something, go somewhere that was totally different to where I was.
See the kids make the product itself, of course. Yeah, go on.
So
you went to Mexico.
So I was on the plane to LA and it was like a 17-hour flight or something.
Yeah.
And I had the middle seat and there was a guy on my left, guy on my right. And I'm thinking, great. So now I have to ask these guys to move, to go to the toilet, whatever. Okay. Sitting there, I feel like shit. And one of the guys said something to me. It was just something really dumb, like some small talk. Like, did you read the catalog?
What'd you get it for lunch? It's like 2 options.
Bro, my eyes rolled back and I'm like, fuck, great. I'm stuck next to this guy. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Turns out the guy was actually really cool, right? He was an emergency doctor in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn.
Oh, right? My God, okay.
Flying to Westmead Hospital to do work over here.
Wow.
And so we spoke for about 11 out of that 17 hours. Like, we were talking about everything because he lives in Bed-Stuy. So I was like, that's where Biggie's from. So I'm like, are there murals? Like, I just wanted to know all that.
That's mad,
But it was incredible. And I showed him this thing and I was like, I think this is the key to happiness. And he's like, all right, show me. Like, it's the key to happiness, show me.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was just so unfulfilled. But this guy looked at it and he was just like, I think I'm in the middle. And like, he really was. Because he had the profits, he had the passion to travel. It is purpose to be an ED doctor.
Yeah.
And like, I just couldn't fathom how this could be me because I had no profit, spent it all on Mexico. Like,
I'm glad my brothers.
But I had passion though because I was just having the time of my life.
Yeah.
1 year later, I came across the thing again and I was in the middle.
Wow,
and I was like, wow. So it's something I need to keep adjusting depending on what I want out of life in that moment. Yeah. But now that's a framework for me. When I go into every year, I'll ask myself, how can I give myself each of these things? And it's been a real game changer, man.
Yeah, make sure I'm like kind of balanced with everything.
Insane.
Yeah. That's huge, actually. Yeah, making sure you're not missing out on anything. Because like obviously certain people might have certain affinities towards maybe a passion or towards the profits or something. Yeah. But if you focus so solely on that and then you forget about the thing that you don't want to focus on, maybe the vice versa, you just, you're not happy. You're missing something. Yeah.
And if your purpose is to, hone in on your passion, comedy or whatever it may be, right? And you're struggling with the profits, then like you don't go and get a 9-to-5 job. You go and find like some side hustle.
You find something to support that money.
So it depends on what you
exactly.
want, right?
Oh,
but
shit.
It's incredible.
Bill's looking happier than he thought. Whoa. I should stop. Wow. Hey, Bill's a little bit happier than he thought just because he's... Look, you know what? And it's not something that as soon as you hit that happiness in the middle, you're like, bish bash chick is ticked off. Nah, it's a constant, what's that thing? The Chatelier's principle. I learned it in chemistry. Come on, guys. What's that? Equilibrium. That's the one, baby. That's,
I hate this chem, man. I hated it.
It was the only thing I band 6. Come on.
Oh, shit, well done.
Thanks. I mean, if we're going to remember that stuff, thanks. I tried to show my parents, like, they were like, shut up. And I was like, thanks.
That was extension 2 English for me.
Oh, you're going to fucking do that to me? Are you fucking kidding me? I did a normal ass chemistry and she's going to be like, extension 2 English, smash that. Like,
Bro, I fucked up chem real bad.
Chem?
And a few other
Yeah.
subjects too. So it's
Yeah.
makes up for it.
Honestly, yeah, it's insane. Because I dropped PE, which probably could have been one of my better subjects.
Yo.
And I kept physics, which was hands down my worst subject. Interesting what you tell yourself as a brown kid. You're like, no, I can't do PE. But chemistry and physics, band 6 boys. Easy peasy, you know? Stupid.
I can't believe you said PE. You know, okay, I'll tell you a story.
Go on,
so,
go on.
In high school, you know how you have like, I think it's 6 subjects. It's
Sure.
like 12 units or something.
Yeah.
So 2 of my worst ones was chem and PE. Right?
Okay.
I was terrible.
Okay.
So
Shambles.
the parents spent on tutoring for me for chem.
Okay.
Went nowhere, right?
Yeah, okay.
I just couldn't understand it.
But there's no PE tutoring, so.
No, like and I'm not sporty, like
Yeah, exactly.
you can probably tell. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so I spent all of my energy in studying for these 2 things and let
Yeah.
everything else go. I was kind of like doing all right with everything else. And then finally I lost my shit towards I think it was the beginning of year 12.
Yeah.
And I
same.
dropped both.
Yeah.
So then-
wish wash.
So
Go on.
yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
So then I think I had 10 units left.
Yeah, because you had to like do extension or some shit. You have to
Yeah,
have 10
some
units,
shit like that,
something
right?
like that, yeah.
But then everything else that I had counted.
Yeah, I remember
right?
this. I remember this. You could have a freebie or some shit. Yeah.
And then
yeah.
it fucked up my ATAR. And I was like,
Okay.
fucking great, right? But
Yeah.
it turns out, man, like, and I was so pissed at myself for doing those 2 subjects in the first place, right? Because they're not me. I could have done better.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
But then looking back at it now, like, I dropped PE after I learnt CPR. So if I had dropped it any earlier, I wouldn't know CPR. And I saved my dad's life using CPR. So I was like, yeah. So when I realized that, I was just like, yo, everything really does happen for a
Did
reason.
you actually learn CPR like that? And
I
then you
learned
actually use those
CPR in
same,
fucking PDHP years
and then you
ago.
use the same skills?
Bro, it was expired. You're meant to
No.
redo it every 3 years or some shit. But I
Can't use those skills anymore. Need to go to another seminar. That's it. My uncle actually told me that the other day. He was just like, why do you guys need to go to consistent seminars for CPR? Does the heart go like this? And I was
They
like,
keep-
shut the fuck up.
they keep updating
Yeah,
it,
yeah. They're
right?
like, does it change places? And I'm like, you're funny, cunt.
And
But that's
also, 'cause,
crazy.
man, if you do it wrong as well, you can crush the sternum.
Yeah.
Or ribs, sorry.
Yeah.
You can break
No, you
ribs.
can break something around
Yeah,
it,
so you got to know what you're doing. But like, I hated the fact that I did
That's
those subjects for
insane.
ages. But if I had dropped it any earlier, my ATAR would have been sweet. But my dad wouldn't be alive.
Oh,
and
don't
I was like,
say
yo,
that. Don't
seriously.
say. No, but like that's insane.
It's
That's actually insane.
So that knowledge, whatever you learn,
Fuck
in
your
PE,
ATAR.
I'm,
As in, like,
I'm
literally,
telling you,
yeah.
man, like,
Yeah.
that it will become useful later. So much shit that I've done in the past has
That's
somehow
huge.
come back, and I'm like, whoa,
That's
yeah.
humongous.
It's
you know?
fucking huge.
Fuck the ATAR. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
incredible. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna tell my parents like, this way, my bad ATAR, but I'm gonna save one of you one day. Like that's mad. That's dude, that's holy shit.
But I wouldn't have got a job.
You
Like
wouldn't
if say if a job required first aid training, they
Yeah.
would have been like, redo it. You know what I mean? But now I don't think I
Technically.
ever need to redo
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I'll just be like, I've used it.
I go, I saved the body, man.
Dude,
Like that's
real
my
life
that's
experience,
yeah, exactly, yeah.